All right, Eric, we thank you. UConn goes to 16-1 on the season, 5-0 in the American Conference. They've still never lost a game in conference in the regular season or in the conference tournament. They're 91-0 all-time now, regular season in the American Conference. I think that's what you would call dominating, to say the least.
Yes.
Let's get a State of the Union where they are right now. As Geno said, they can use coming home right now, on their way home, going to play on Wednesday at Gamble. So what do you make of what we saw today and where they are at the moment?
Well, I don't think it was as crisp as Geno would have liked this game to be. They haven't had one of those breakout games like Notre Dame played Wake Forest the other day, 18-0 run, just jumping out of the gate. UConn hasn't had one of those. He keeps looking for something like that. It was sloppy on and off today, but obviously some great signs. Napheesa Collier having one of her best games, one of the Napheesa Collier games that we've seen in the past. So a lot of good and a lot of bad in this game, a mix. We're looking for consistency now from UConn. We need Kristen Williams to get it together. She's having freshman woes and hitting the wall, and that's a story developing there in itself. Megan Walker's breaking out, another good game, although she did have 6 turnovers. She had 11 points, and she did a lot of good things moving without the basketball. So a lot of good things happening. A lot of things need to kind of get on board and work itself out so you can have more consistency.
All right, going to hit on a lot of those things as we go along here on our post-game broadcast, but let's begin with Napheesa Collier. She was tremendous, and I thought really interesting to see her score from so many different places on the floor. She stepped away, she knocked down some threes, but she was dominant on the low block. And I've spoken to you so many times about the fact that I would love to see her dominate in that area more. What most impressed you about her game today?
Her confidence. I mean, she played like a senior today. She knew Katie Lou Samuelson has been in a shooting slump. She needs to step up. So Napheesa Collier kind of took it upon herself. I love the confidence she got from the threes, knocking those down because she hadn't been taking those. I love that she was dribbling out. She was taking mid-range jumpers. I mean, she was just so versatile today. We know that she's capable of doing that, but she did it with a confidence and a calmness about her. Like she was going to take care of business. If other people couldn't knock down shots, she's going to put them on her shoulders and do it. But I just like the versatility. But she was down low, she was inside, she was outside. Everything about Napheesa Collier just kind of screamed old Fisa was back. Certainly not under the radar tonight like we had seen in other games.
Well, that was her season high, those 30 points. Her career high is 39, but let's get a look at her numbers this year. Highest scoring games of the season, and today was her top scoring game, those 30 points. She had 24 against DePaul and then 23 in that game against Oklahoma. Here's Justine Ward now with the star of the game.
Here was senior Napheesa Collier, who had her 10th double-double of the season. The shots were falling down for you today, even from the three-point line. Now, you had adjusted some things with your shot. What did you adjust, and how did that play out in this game?
I had a hitch in my shot where it's going behind my head, and so I try to fix that to get it to my forehead and out. And I mean, I've struggled with it still this year. It's really hard to change your shot, but it feels a lot better. So I just continue to keep shooting, and thankfully they were going in tonight.
Geno wanted more of a team offensive approach. How do you think you guys get more people involved on offense?
Really switching sides of the floor. We tend to keep it on one side a lot and getting the same people involved. So bring it to the other side and just running it how we know how to run it.
You guys only had one practice before this game because of the weather. The game was moved up. Now you have a couple days before your next game. As a team, what would you like to work on before SMU?
I think we're definitely going to have a defensive day tomorrow, especially just because they got so many in the paint points, and that's something that we really try to take pride in and not let happen, and we've had that happen a lot to us this season, so I'm sure that's what we're going to be working on. And then turnovers, we got to work on that too.
All right, thank you, Napheesa. 30 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists for the senior.
All right, Justine and Napheesa as well. 32 points in the paint is what they were talking about right there by Temple. Listen, she talked about the fact she had a little bit of a hitch in her shot. It's nice for us to have a shooting guru like this woman right here to explain exactly what she's talking about.
First of all, look it, kids. A college player is looking in the mirror and saying, hey, I can fix my shot. You think, well, they shoot all the time. They should know how to shoot. Working on the little things. And that happens sometimes when you bring the ball behind your head too much and then you're shooting from there. She wants to get it in front a little more. And great athletes who want to be really, really good keep working on their skills and crafting that. So good. Kudos to her, because a lot of shooters just say, hey, it's too hard at this point to change my shot. It's stuck in its way. But that little tweak, and Katie Lou Samuelson, we can talk about, she needs some tweaks to her shot to to kind of help her because Katie Lou is too flat with her shot. I really love teaching shooting to the young kids. So Katie Lou, there's a few things with her shot I think she could get some help with. I mean, wait. I have to take that back. Katie Lou is one heck of a shooter. So don't let me say, like, yeah, she needs a... But there are some tweaks that I could point out with Katie Lou's shot that I think could, like, get her over the hump. But, you know, Katie Lou, I'm not going to teach Katie Lou Samuelson how to shoot. One heck of a shooter.
Hold that thought for 1 second if you can. We'll get back to that. Let's get a look at game stats. They are presented by People's United Bank, and Connecticut shooting it at just under 49% on the day. They own the rebounding margin, 43-31, and the 19 assists in the game for Connecticut. But turnover, 17 of those, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit. That's something that needs to change. But, all right, let's go back to Katie Lou right there. And, again, you're not going to tell her how to do her business. She's one of 10 in Connecticut history who's gone over 2,000 points. You're one of the 10, so you do have some idea of how things work. But she had the 10-point shot, 4 of 13. So what are you seeing? All right, let's expound on it. What are you seeing from her right now?
I see with Katie Lou, her shot gets flat. She starts pushing it out first. The first movement has to be up and then over. And sometimes when she gets under pressure, she pushes the ball too straight out. She needs more arc on her shot is basically what it is. And sometimes she shoots quickly, but she has to make sure she's gathered and has the ball. There were a couple examples there where she kind of fumbled the ball. She was shooting before she had complete control of the basketball. But, I mean, this is a player that's swarmed every time she gets the ball, so she tries to get her shot off quickly, but it has to be quick, not fast, if that makes it, understand that, not too fast that she's out of control. But the biggest thing with her is more arc on her shot. She starts getting flat when she starts rushing and starts thinking about her shot. But if she can get more arc, get more lift from her whole body, she's good. But once again, Katie Lou Samuelson, a heck of a shooter. I'm not telling you how to shoot, just giving you some tweaks.
I like your tweaks. So what is it? The elbow needs to be up maybe a little bit
Your elbow has to be
higher?
Above your eye when you're done with your follow through. Sorry, am I allowed to demonstrate?
You are allowed.
Your elbow has to be above your eye.
Yes.
And sometimes she flattens it out a little too much.
Pushes it straight out,
right?
right?
Here.
Yeah.
She needs to bring it here and then snap that awesome follow.
So you see, that's the sort of in-depth analysis that we've gotten used to here on our post-game broadcast. Bottom line is, they're not going anywhere unless Katie Lou is going to lead them, right, to the promised land?
Yeah, I don't think everyone's worried right now. I mean, yes, she is in a shooting slump, but great shooters keep shooting, and she's doing a lot of other good things we talked about before. She's evolved into a great basketball player, not just a scorer. So if she isn't scoring, you have people like Napheesa picking it up, you know, but defensively, rebounding, taking charges, all those things that make Katie Lou Samuelson more than just a scorer are still happening. So the shot will come around, it happens, and in the meantime, people will pick up the slack for her, but she's a great shooter. She'll keep shooting.
Crystal Dangerfield had a heck of a game. She had 26 points for Connecticut, and as I mentioned at the half, it's really nice for us when we speak about something on our pregame show and then it comes to fruition during the course of the game. Yes, it magically just happens. We might be clued in on something to go down that road, but we spoke about the fact she needs to be more aggressive, right? And Geno has said she needs to be maybe a little bit more selfish on the offensive end. Find her shot, create for herself. We saw that today.
I saw her a little more selfish today, not in a negative way, just in a, okay, Crystal. I think there were actually a few times I would have worked it around the offense a little more. She took a quick first shot, but man, who's to debate that if she's knocking it down, right? But she came out with confidence, almost like Geno said, shoot, look for your shot today. That's the feeling that I got. I mean, she was just not hesitating on all cylinders, knocking him down from way downtown with confidence. But she's got the green light from Geno. I mean, Crystal can shoot the basketball. She's always facilitating. But in there, she also shared the basketball extremely well, too. So she wasn't just shooting. She had the assists. She had rebounds to go with it. It was an all-around game for Crystal. But she should not hesitate. She's a heck of a shooter, and she's creating for herself. We saw mid-range jumpers. We saw threes. We saw a fast break that she did in 4 seconds down the court. So Crystal Dangerfield is the complete, what do you, 5-tool player? You're the baseball guy, the 5-tool player. Is that what it is? Okay, I'm not the baseball guru, but
well played on your part.
The 5-tool, she did it all. Defense, offense, her speed, her athleticism, and the way she's a leader. You see her always go over to Geno on the sideline, so she's the extension of Geno, and she's done a great job as a point guard, kind of facilitating things, but now she's really looking to score, and that brings it up another notch.
We saw that number of occasions today. She was over during stoppages in play, over chatting with the head coach. And, you know, you always hear that your point guard, if you've got a great point guard, they are an extension, right, of your coach. on the floor. And so she's matured enough, I think, to be able to take Geno's message.
Oh, yeah.
Onto the floor, right, and execute it the way she certainly did today.
Absolutely, and then you combine that with the fire we saw in that last game when you just saw her get fired up, and that's what she needs. Like, you need to, like, punch first. UConn sometimes is back on their heels a little bit, but, boy, when you see Crystal act like that, it's like everyone stands to attention, like, okay, Crystal. So she's taken charge of this team, and she's her basketball IQ, we talked about it before. Not everyone has a good basketball IQ. She's an extremely smart player, knows when to hold them, knows when to fold them.
She's taking nothing from anybody. I think that's the bottom line.
No.
She is tough as nails.
Would you mess with her? You see those guns she's got?
I mess with her? I would not mess with her, no. All right, Kara and I just getting going here on the People's United Bank postgame show. When we come back, going to hear more from the Hall of Famer, Geno Auriemma, his postgame address to the media, plus going to have complete game highlights as UConn goes to 16-1 on the season. We're back in a moment.
The UConn Women's Basketball Postgame Show is presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do for you.
Gary back alongside Kara. Here we go. Complete game highlights. Huskies off to a rough start in this one. Early first quarter, Kristen Williams getting called for the foul away from the basketball. UConn 2 turnovers less than 40 seconds into the game. That's not going to make Geno very happy.
No, and they have a talking to right there with Chris Daly and Geno and Kristen.
Alexa Williamson wide open inside for the bucket. Temple kept it close. They were up by 1. Crystal Dangerfield, though, she would then begin to take charge.
Early and often, bang from way downtown. Crystal starts with knocking down a 3.
UConn up by 7 in the second quarter. UConn up by 8. Napheesa Collier going to knock down the turnaround. Going to work. That's where I love to see her on that low block.
I love the points in the paint. They spread the floor, left her 1-on-1. Nice turnaround.
And then the ability to step away from the basket and hit the 3. UConn up by 13. Later in that second quarter, Collier around the defender. Boy, what a display of different ways to score the basketball.
Well, and a nice high-low from Olivia Nelson-Ododa to get it hitting her right there, but the spacing is causing that to open up for Napheesa.
End of the first half, look at Crystal Dangerfield. Just flies down the court, and UConn up 42-25 at the break. In the third quarter, Huskies up by 20. Katie Lou Samuelson 0 for 7 in that first half. Finally getting on the board.
But it was good. Katie Lou did other things. Even though she wasn't knocking down shots, she was running the floor and playing some defense.
This time, Collier from straight away, going to bury it. Nothing but net, 52-31. Huskies had the lead still in that third quarter. Samuelson finally getting a 3 to go.
I think I heard the whole crowd, yay, finally, but Geno Auriemma, not thrilled with his squad.
Well, the Hall of Famer, he's won those 11 national championships for a reason. He knows how to get it done. He was frustrated at times. There's Dangerfield, who had 26 in the game, and then Dangerfield dishing here to Megan Walker.
Oh, I mean, beautiful pass. She threads the needle, finds Megan. Megan's ready for it and finishes.
UConn up by 21 now. Collier going to get some good position right here, going to bank it in off the glass. She had a tremendous day. She had 30 points. UConn gets the win, 88-67, a double-double for Napheesa Collier. That is her 10th double-double of the season. Let's hear from the Hall of Famer once again, Geno Auriemma, his post-game address to the media.
Geno, Crystal 9 assists, no turnovers, but really important thing, she made some shots today. How good was that to see? Was it a matter of getting better shots or just making the shots she had been missing earlier?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes, you know, if you're not feeling it, you know, you sometimes pass up a lot of good shots. You start to force some things, maybe. Thought today, right from the beginning, she looked like she was in a pretty good spot. And, you know, when you get a couple of them to drop right away, you know, it just kind of opens up the floodgates. And that's, I would like to think that that's could be a typical game for Crystal, you know? You know, creating a lot of points for us and knocking in her share of shots. So, yeah, I thought she was rolling her game today.
Yeah, Napheesa talked earlier in the month about being frustrated with her shot a little bit. That said, what does a day like, you know, this do for her, just confidence-wise?
I think that a lot of the guys on our team are going through some shooting things, you know, and you just need a couple of them to go, and then when they go, they go. You know, when Feasa's first 3 went in, you knew she was probably going to make another one at some point, but sometimes she just has really good matchups down there, and today was one of them. And I don't worry too much about Feasa. You know, she's going to get her share. She's going to work her butt off. I love the fact that some of those jump shots went in. I mean, that's kind of what we were used to for the longest time.
Can you just talk about Crystal's floor game as well? I mean, even though her shot's been struggling, she's done an awful lot of good for the team this year just by running the team.
Yeah. It's not easy either with this group, trying to get them all going in the same direction. And getting, you know, most of the time when you have guards with the ball that take a lot of shots and are looking too much for their offense, you know, they do lose sight a little bit about how to manage a game, you know. So today it worked out. I thought all 3 of those areas were exactly what they need to be, you know. She made shots, she got people shots, and she managed the game. I think that about says it all.
Geno, anything positive from taking that? You got 88 points and Katie Lou was not very good, and Kristen struggles continued.
Yeah.
And are you concerned about Kristen any more now than you were 24 hours ago?
No. No, I'm not. You know, I've spent my whole life trying to change the world. I'm too old for that now. I'm not. I just realized I'm not smart enough to change anything.
Geno, what do you mean that it's not easy with this group when you said for her to run the offense? What do you mean by that?
I think the fact that we're, you know, we got 2 young kids on the floor a lot. So you got 3 veterans and 2 young kids. The chances of getting it right all the time are not great, you know. It was way easier last year because it was so familiar. And she had Kia alongside of her, so that, and then Gabby, who she led our team in assists. So there was a lot of playmakers, and it's kind of all on her shoulders right now to get that stuff done. And when it looks good, it looks really good, and when it doesn't, it doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, when she's really being aggressive and she's really attacking, you know, good things are going to happen. I don't ever want her to not do that, you know. I want her to really, really force the issue in transition. And I mean, that was a perfect example of knowing how much time's left, knowing, you know, sometimes kids will just pull up and throw up a half quarter with, you know, 3 seconds left or something. But she knew she had enough time to get there and to finish. So, hey, we played, we won, and we're going home. It's about as good as it gets.
That was pretty remarkable at the end of the first half there when Crystal Dangerfield drove that ball and scored before the buzzer. I do want to go back to what he said about Kristen Williams right there, the freshman. He said he's not concerned any more so right now than he was a couple of days ago. She's got 4 points over the course of her last 3 games. 2 of 18 shooting. She did not shoot it well again today, 1 of 6. She's struggling right now. So take what the Hall of Famer had to say right there and build on it. Are you concerned at all?
I detect some sarcasm coming from Geno.
To some degree.
He can't change the world. Well, it's interesting. And Kristen Williams said to Geno that, you know, it's so hard. I didn't realize how hard it was playing basketball without the ball. I was so used to, in my day in high school, always having the ball and creating. But now you have to learn to play without the basketball. I didn't realize how hard that was. And to me, that was an interesting quote. It was very telling of how hard you have to work and what is needed. Setting screens, moving without the basketball, getting your teammates open, getting into the right space to start a play or to create things. And Kristen Williams still hasn't figured that out yet because, again, we have this problem with these kids coming up. They were the best. Their AAU coaches told them they could do no wrong. And then they come into this system and they're like, whoa, hold on. So Geno is frustrated, but also teaching because he knows how important she is. And I told you this story. I got yelled at as a freshman. I cried and said, why do you yell at me so much? And he said, Kara, you should worry the day I don't yell at you. It means there's no potential for you. Well, clearly there's a lot of potential for Kristen Williams, and he's going to stay on her to get the most out of her.
I think she's going to be fine. One man's opinion right here.
Yes.
Brianna Stewart, and Geno has compared Kristen Williams and her moxie, right?
That's crazy.
Stewie, one of the greats to ever play the college game. But she went through something a little bit similar, right? When she was a freshman, she got off to a great start, and then she didn't start for a number of games, right? Put her to the bench. I don't think he's got that same ability to do that here because of how thin they are when it comes to the rotation, but she'll find her way through this. I think she had 28 in that game against Notre Dame. She knows how to score the basketball. More to come here on the People's United Bank postgame show. When we come back, sights and sounds of today's win for UConn over Temple, 88-67. Plus, we'll check out the drive of the game. Kara and I are back in a moment. We head to break. We get a look right here. Today's rebounding leaders. It's lighting up the boards, presented by Connecticut Lighting Centers, and it's Napheesa Collier led everybody. She had a dozen. Coming right back. Drive of the game now, presented by Subaru. Final seconds, opening half, and there goes Crystal Dangerfield beating the halftime buzzer. She got up the floor here in less than 5 seconds.
Well, what I liked about it is the smarts. Like Geno said, very smart of her, because sometimes you tell kids in 5th grade basketball, you have 10 seconds or you have 5 seconds, and you just chuck it up from wherever they are. Smart basketball IQ players know that's plenty of time. She knows how fast she is. So fun to watch.
It is our drive of the game. It is presented by Subaru. What about Megan Walker now? We were interested to see how she was going to respond coming off the best game of her career. She had 34 on Wednesday against Tulane. She struggled a little bit today. She turned the ball over 6 different times.
I think other than turning the ball over, it was a solid game for her. Clearly not like the other night. However, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 6 turnovers that, you know, mar that a little bit, and 3 steals to go along with it. So I thought overall it was a solid game by her. She's just looking to build and put these games together, being more consistent. And I think she built on it a little bit, with the exception of those turnovers. Well, the whole team made some poor decisions and had too many turnovers as a whole. But I think overall, Megan Walker had a good day.
I'm in agreement with you. She looks more confident, right? I think you see the confidence growing every time she steps on the floor. When we come back here, go to take a look ahead. What's next for the Huskies, plus the sights and sounds of today's victory as the Huskies go to 16-1 on the season, still unbeaten in the conference, 5-0. Back in a moment.
The UConn Women's Basketball Postgame Show is presented by People's United Bank. See what know-how can do for you.
Well, here's UConn's upcoming schedule. The Huskies are headed home now for a couple of games. SMU and Central Florida up next. Then it's back to the road for Louisville and Cincinnati before returning to Hartford on February 6th, take on East Carolina. And you can catch the Huskies next game right here on SNY. UConn hosting SMU at Gamble on Wednesday. Kara and I going to get set for all the action, beginning with the UConn women's basketball pregame show that gets underway at 6:30. As Geno said a moment ago, they need to get home, right? They need to get back in their own routine and into school. And what kind of a difference does that make?
It makes a huge difference getting home, sleeping in your own bed, your routine. It makes a huge difference. And this team, inconsistent a little in this game. Geno would like to see a little more. The defense wasn't as good as it had been. So I think he wants to kind of piece together a complete game. And that's what they're looking for maybe at SMU, to kind of regather, sleep in your own bed, get back to the dorms, and just bring it all together. But there were some good things and some bad things that happened today.
All right, UConn gets the win 88-67. The game moved up because of the inclement weather that's coming. You get home safely.
Thank you.
That snow it's on the way.
Yes, it is.
For Kara Walters, I'm Gary Apple. We thank you for joining us. Sights and sounds of today's UConn win on the way out the door.
Collier posting up.
Nice aggressive move by Collier.
Dangerfield has it. A time for Dangerfield to get up the final shot. Look how quickly she gets down the floor to beat the buzzer. Dangerfield to Samuelson. And Megan Walker drains a three. UConn fans on their feet.